Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott wave update for ICP. I'm just going to go over the daily timeframes real quick, and then I'll get into the micro timeframes as well as the versus BTC pairing. We're going to start in September at the low of 2023. Off that low, we made a 5-wave move to the upside for our wave 1. We had a 382 retracement on linear for our wave 2. We then had 5 waves move up for our wave 3, being the strongest as expected for a 3rd wave. We had a very drawn out 4th wave as a running flat, where B makes a higher high above wave 3 and C makes a higher low against wave A, and then finally our 5th wave to the upside. Further ways to verify we're on the same path, we're on the right correct path. So we take the beginning of our wave 1 off our wave 2, extend that off the top of wave 1, and eventually we expect wave 4 to hit on the top side of that channel before getting its 5th wave, which we did. As well as for our 5th wave, expect to get the length of wave 1 off of the wave 4 to around the 1-to-1 area, which we got right here. So everything aims to a 5-wave move to the upside. We can also double check our indicators, most volume in the 3rd of the 3rd. Also what we want to see is divergence between our 3rd and 5th of our 3rd and our 3rd and larger 5th, which we got both of. So every indication, every guideline is working for this to be an impulse. Now off that, we expect a correction down between the 50 and the 618 of these entire 5-wave move to the upside, which we just hit. Off this move, we got a 3-wave W. We got a triangle for our X wave and looking for an ABC to complete our Y wave. We have a potential bottom in. We need to get a little bit more confirmation on the bottom to get more confident in the probabilities that the low is in. We did hit the 1-to-1 of the W off the X for our Y, which is the most expected target we'd like to hit. Okay, so let's focus in on this area, just this Y wave. We're looking for a 3-wave move as a 5-3-5. That's the top of our X wave right here, our triangle and our thrust. This has been a pretty difficult count, just a lot of overlapping, but the best way it fits to me currently is as a 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our 1, 2. Then had another 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our 3rd. 4, 5. That's our 3rd wave right here. 5 waves in there. Short retracement for our 4th and our 5th wave down. That's the best fit I could see for this. We then got a triangle for our B wave within this ABC. Remember, we're looking for an ABC, a 3-wave pattern rather than a 5. The minimum requirement we want is a 618 extension, which we hit right here off this last low. 1-to-1 is standard, but the larger time frames rule, and we hit the 1-to-1 on that and the 618 retracement of the 5 waves. So as of right now, potential bottom in. You're not really going to see much divergence here in 3-wave patterns. They're more for 5-wave patterns. So as of right now, this count, it looks more like an ABC to me. Now there is a way to count this as a 5-wave, but the 5th wave would be extended, which I don't like to do. I feel like you're reaching when you start doing that, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But as of right now, this is just shy of the 1-to-1. Right now I'm counting this as an ABC. So how can we get impulsive if the low is in? Well, there's a few different ways this can play out. The most logical way would be a diagonal. So this turns into a double zigzag here for our 3, get our 4th, get our 5th, and we come back for an ABC, just like so. So areas I would be interested in leveraging up. I'm already in this trade. I got in at the 618, stop at the 66 on the larger time frame. It was the golden zone trade. So currently in, but what I want to see before I decide to raise my stop and leverage up is this 5-wave move. So I've been tracking this all week. I'll make sure to update this on a regular basis. So as of right now, 1, 2, this is a zigzag. So we're looking for a double zigzag here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this. Now in diagonals, we can get single zigzags, double zigzags. So this one, to stay valid, I'd want to see a double zigzag here for our 3rd, get our 4th, get some overlap, and get our 5th. And this is where the most important wave will pan out. Do we sell off or do we drift sideways in an ABC? Because if this pans out as expected, like this, to get our confidence up and to make sure we're on the right page and the low is in, this is the best trade setup you'll get for the next foreseen future. Because our target currently, if this holds, is around 150. If this holds. That's the 1.618 extension area of the wave, entirety of wave 1 on the larger degree off the current low. You can see that would end up being like 100 to 1 risk reward if that trade setup pans out. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for in the next week. And if we do start to take off from here, which I think is very unlikely, it would most likely be a flat because this is a 3-wave move. We get something like a WXY, series of 3s, and then we'd come back down something like this. This would be the way I would still be bullish, protect this A wave, and recount this potentially as a 5-wave move. The trouble with this is this becomes a WXY, and we might assume downside after the fact. I don't want to get too complicated. I'm just keeping it simple. This is what I'm looking for currently. And if something changes, I'll be sure to update that. So let's go down to the ICP BTC pairing. This has also been a pretty difficult count, just because we had that crazy sell-off last year. I've gone over this several different ways. The way that makes the most sense is a diagonal, literally since the sell-off. So the way I would label that is a diagonal down, and this is a larger C wave. And we can start our trend from the low. So we have ABC, ABC, ABC. And how I came up with this is the extensions. You know, I aim for 618 to 786s. Those were what was hitting. Excuse me. And all of these were 1-to-1s. So it makes the most sense that this is either like a WXYXZ or a C wave in a diagonal. This is also the shift pitchfork. You can see the slope gets strong, less. So that's a good sign. This is where you get those kind of curved bottoms all the way back up if they fulfill out. I actually have our trend starting from this wick here. It's not the exact low. Reason being was when I counted this, this made more sense as a flat. So we're actually making a new low right here. This is the middle of the correction, made a new low off the previous peak. So that's where I'm starting my correction, my uptrend from. And we have our 5-wave move to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our 5 waves to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's an ABC. All right. You can see the nice 5-wave move too from the low. Remember, this is versus BTC, so it's going to be a little more extreme. We have protected the absolute low, which I have marked here. And we do have a 5-wave move, same as before. Most volume in the third, same divergence. The one nice thing about this one is there is actually potentially a 5-wave move complete. It's just slightly different than the other one, not a triangle, but we do have divergence between ICP BTC pairing, as you can see, which is a nice indication that the low is potentially in. This one's kind of similar as the other chart. It's more of an A, B, C, or this looks like a better diagonal already complete. Three-wave patterns to the upside. It's just not ideal for the trend lines. Yeah, everything's looking good on this. I'm going to be watching this for the next little bit, obviously, and I will make sure to post a few times a week on this one. All right, so looking for this to turn into a double zigzag. Make our fourth and our fifth. This is the area where I'd want to leverage up if we get a nice correction off of that. All right, so how can we fail from here? Well, this was an impulse for our A wave. The one concern I do have is I don't love the look of this wave. This can be counted as a 5-wave move. Doesn't mean it is, it just means it can be counted. Sometimes there's multiple ways things can be counted, and you have to pay attention to the reaction at specific areas. So my one concern here is if we get some sort of diagonal. This is a lot of chop. This does look like a 3rd wave, 4th, 5th, so it does look complete. That's where I'd have the hard low in. It's like a diagonal wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see there is 5 waves there, but this can also be relabeled as a double zigzag. It's ABC, ABC. So that's the issue I'm having here, because there's no reason we can't pop up. This becomes a. Once we make a new high here, this becomes a complex correction. We come back down, and that's our 1, 2. Come back up, 3, 4, 5. Like so. And that becomes a diagonal to finally finish this wave 2. So you can see how that can kind of drag on for the next little bit and become confusing, because this is a impulse to begin with. We can get a diagonal here for our C wave. So we'll see, do we get a diagonal to the downside? Again, that will be an excellent entry in the future if that does end up happening. Or do we make our leading diagonal to the upside and we start this trend from here? Only the market will tell us. I can't read the future. I just know what to look for. And that possibility of that drop is anytime above this level. As you can see, this would be the correction here. And we get our ABC, like so. All right, guys, so that's it for ICP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.